Hey guys, welcome back to Ravers Mead. Today's video, as you guessed by the title, is 8 ways that you can save money when you own horses. These are all ways that we have learned that have saved us a heck of a lot of money since we've owned horses, because let's face it, we have 4 horses and we don't have a ton of money, so every penny counts. And I know that's the case for a lot of other people as well. Every penny really does count. So here you go, here are my 8 tips for saving money. Okay, so homemade fly sprays. This is a great way to save a fairly substantial amount of money when you own horses. So in my area, commercially made shop bought fly sprays usually cost in the region of £7 to £15 per bottle, and we're talking like a 500ml bottle, so about this kind of size. And we have 4 horses. We use a lot of fly spray, and I started looking into the ingredients in fly sprays a few years ago, and I actually came to realise that a lot of them are really basic, and the money we were paying for them in my head just wasn't justified. So I went online and did some research, and I found things like this. So these are bottles of essential oils. Now these cost, for this size, it varies a little bit depending on what type of oil you get, so I just grabbed a few of the ones I have here. So I've got citronella, tea tree, and what's this one, peppermint oil. Now a jar this size will usually cost somewhere between £5 and £10, and out of this one small bottle of essential oil I can make, I don't even know how many. I mean, usually a bottle of this size will last me about a year. So that's a pretty substantial saving. So this is going to cost about the same amount as a bottle this size of shop bought fly spray, and I can make batch after batch after batch with this, as opposed to having one bottle of spray this way. So this for me is a no-brainer. This saves so much money. Like I said, I will buy bottles like this once a year. I've usually got like citronella, tea tree, I use lavender, I use clove oil. There's maybe 4 or 5 that I will use on a regular basis. So even if they cost £10 per bottle, say for argument's sake, go to the high end, you're looking at about £50 a year. I can tell you now that we would get through a lot more than £50 worth of shop bought bottles of this size in a year. I mean, I've usually got 3 or 4 bottles like this on the go at once, and in the summer, in peak fly season, I will be filling them up maybe once a week, once a fortnight, something like that. So that is a pretty substantial saving. Learning basic first aid is another really good way that you can save some money around the yard. We've saved, I have no idea how much money we've saved by just learning a few really basic skills, like simple wound care, how to take care of minor eye infections and things like that. Like nothing, like we still call a vet if we need to, like don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't use a vet to save money, but there are a lot of things that you can learn, really simple things that you can learn, that can help you to take care of minor issues without the need of involving a vet, and therefore alleviating you of the call out fee and the consultation fee, which is a huge bonus in my mind. So I've got with me here a whole load of stuff. So this is all, it's not even all of it actually. That's a nice big selection of the medical stuff we have here. Now, yes, I will agree, it is an investment to have all of that. However, I should point out that is stuff that has been accumulated over many years, stuff that we've bought as and when we've needed things, and me being me, I always like to buy a bit extra in case we need it again in the future. Put it in the box and then you know you've got it. So we've got, I mean, like your Hibi scrub, for example. To be honest, I don't use this an awful lot. We've not had an awful lot of calling for it, but it's great to have around if you ever need to sterilise something, whether that be equipment or a wound on a horse. We've got all sorts of different wound care creams and sprays. So we've got the classic purple spray. This is a really old can. You can see the can is just massacred now. But this has cured so many things that we've had with our horses in the past. It's antibacterial and antifungal. We've used it on rain rot, we've used it on like minor skin abrasions, we've used it on bug bites, we've used it on so many different things, cracked heels. This stuff is amazing. So, and you know, the amount of times that we've used this instead of having to call a vet out, that's saved us a lot of money in the long run. And again, we've got things like your Sudocrem, your summer fly cream. Again, these are all antibacterial soothing creams that you can use on minor cuts, abrasions, bug bites, anything like that. We've also got so this is an antifungal spray. This stuff is really good for things like thrush or anything that's looking a bit suspect in the horse's foot, if you think there might be an infection in there. And this has saved us money in the past as well, because a couple of times we had a pony a few years ago who was terrible for getting thrush and terrible for getting foot infections. And after the first time we called the vet out and, you know, figured out what the problem was, after that we would just treat it with this instead of calling the vet out over and over again, and sure enough it resolved the problem every single time. So that was brilliant. And yeah, I've got a simple eye wash kit that I keep here all the time. I mean, I've literally just got saline solution, like the stuff you get for like contact lenses or eye washes and stuff like that. I always keep that here. We don't get so much of a problem anymore because we use fly masks, but in the past we have had a few minor eye infections. We've had one pretty major eye infection, but that has all been resolved through using just a rinse and a wash. We haven't had to get a vet involved, we haven't had to get antibiotics or anything like that. We just cleaned it with that stuff, and within a few days it started to improve. Within a week it was cured. So yeah, I won't go through everything that's in my medical box, but this is a really good way to save money when you own horses, is learn some basic first aid, learn your basic wound care, learn how to deal with small things that, you know, I see a lot of people call the vet out over, and, you know, in our area I think it's like a £30 fee just for them to come out to see your horse, and then you've got the consultation fee on top of that, and then you've got any medications on top of that, which, to be fair, medications are usually priced up when you buy them from the vets as opposed to buying them from your tack shop or online or whatever. So having a good selection of things like this and a little bit of knowledge to help you deal with those minor issues can save you a heck of a lot of money in the long run. Another really great way to save money when you own horses is to learn how to fix stuff. I hate to break it to you people, but horses love breaking stuff, and it costs money to fix the stuff they break constantly. Like, that is just the way it is. So instead of hiring a handyman or paying a contractor to come out and fix stuff every time it gets broken, we have just learned how to do basic DIY. So we can put up fences, we can fix fences, electric tape fences, that is, and post and rail fences, that's not a problem. We've invested in things like a post ram, sledgehammer, so we can do all of that ourselves. So we no longer have the cost of paying someone to do that, we just have the cost of the materials, which is significantly less than paying a contractor on top of that. It's also worth learning how to do simple repairs like rehanging gates, or I don't know, something simple like recladding a building. If the horses were to rip this off and damage it, you know, learn how to reclad a building. It's not difficult. All you need is a hammer and a nail and a bit of, you know, grit and perseverance. And again, that's going to save you so much money. All you've got at that point is the cost of the materials instead of the cost of paying a workman as well. So that is a super beneficial thing to do. And the other perk of that is you don't have to wait for someone to come out and fix stuff. If you've got the materials to hand, you can just go out and do it yourself straight away. Another great way to save money when you own horses is to buy second hand. Now, I know so many people out there are into their like whole matchy thing, and they have to have the best tack and the most expensive saddle pads, and they like to look the part. And I get that. I really do get that. But when you're working on a budget, sometimes you have to accept the fact that you can't do the £100 a set matchy deals. You can't go and get the most expensive tack. You can't go and buy the most expensive show jackets. You're just going to have to learn to make do. But buying second hand is a really good way to make do and still get the stuff you want. Because let's face it, people buy things, a lot of the time second hand stuff hasn't even seen a horse or been used. It's crazy, and you can get it so much cheaper. So like, for example, we've got saddle pads. I've got a few like ProLite riser pads. I've got some gel pads and things like that. Now, normally if you buy them new, they're quite pricey. I picked all of mine up at tack sales and second-hand tack shops, and I've got them for probably about a third of the price that I would have paid for them new from a shop. And they've barely been used. Which is just mind-blowing that I've made that much of a saving on something that's pretty much as good as new. We do it with rugs as well. We have got a serial rug trasher that is blue. You've probably seen the state of his rugs in a lot of my videos. So a lot of the time, like with his turnout rugs, I buy him second hand now. Or he will get hand-me-downs from the other horses when they get new rugs. But again, that saves so much money. You can get a second-hand rug at most tack sales for like somewhere between £10 and £20, as opposed to paying £70 to £100 for a brand new turnout rug. The savings there is just mind-blowing. And okay, you might need to get it cleaned. A lot of people sell rugs cleaned and ready to use, and a lot of people don't. The price usually reflects that. But even so, getting a rug professionally laundered and reproofed, you're probably looking at like £15, so that's still a huge saving on that. And tack as well. I don't do it so much with bridles because I find a few companies that sell nice leatherware that's, you know, relatively cheap anyway. But all my saddles are second hand. And I don't have a problem with that. You know, brand new saddles, depending on what company you go to, cost a fortune, like an absolute fortune. I don't have that kind of money. So I will buy second hand. And there's nothing wrong with them. You know, if they don't quite fit your horse, like a load of people like to get made to measure tack and everything, but all you have to do is go to a saddler and get them to reflock it or adjust it slightly for you. Again, that doesn't cost much at all in comparison with getting a brand new made to measure saddle. So yeah, that's another really good tip for you all. Buy second hand. There's no shame in buying second hand. I love buying second hand because it's just, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've bought second hand, like I said, is as good as new. Like some stuff I've bought second hand hasn't even been taken out of its packaging, which is insane. So buy second hand, guys. Trawl through those second hand tack shops, go to the car boot sales, go to the tabletop tack sales. You will find some serious bargains. So buying in bulk is another great way to save money when you own horses. I'm sat in my little bedding shed at the moment, so you can see I've got a great big pile of shavings behind me. I've got wood pellets here that I'm sat on as well. Now, I buy all my bedding in bulk because it works out so much cheaper. So these bales in my area, when you buy them as singles, they usually cost, I think they're £8 a bale when you buy them as singles. Now, by buying a pallet load of these, they come down to £5.25 per bale. That is a big difference. Now, the only catch with this is, my cat's just jumped up. I'm hoping he's not going to knock my camera off. The only catch with doing it this way is that you have to save up the money in the beginning before you can buy a pallet load. I mean, a pallet load of this stuff cost me just under £300, I think. But the savings per bale is so worth it. I mean, when you work out how much you're spending in the long run, in the long run, when you buy them one bale at a time, it's just a no-brainer. It really is a no-brainer. So buying bedding in bulk is going to save you a huge amount of money if you have somewhere to store it. But again, you don't have to keep these in a shed like we have. You could just chuck a pallet down and put them outside. If it's particularly wet and you're worried about them, throw a tarp under them, job done. Yeah, it's still going to save you a load of money. And it's not just bedding that you can buy in bulk and save money on. There's all sorts of other things as well. So for example, we use foot grease to put on their feet all summer, because otherwise their feet crack up and their shoes fall off and it's just horrendous. Now you can get tiny little tubs about this big in most tack shops, and they're usually quite pricey. Now again, me being poor and, you know, trying to be resourceful, I decided to go online and do some digging around, and actually you can buy much bigger containers of things like that which work out infinitely cheaper, like per kilo or per mil, however it is, you know, they weigh out the specific product that you're looking at. But you can get bigger containers that work out cheaper for what you're getting. So I actually get containers of foot grease that are this big now. They're like 5 kilo buckets, as opposed to the 500 gram containers you can get in the local tack shops. And I save so much money doing that. So a tiny little container like this, I think, works out at about £15, and that's for half a kilo. Well, I can get 5 kilo buckets online for about £45. I mean, you guys do the maths there. That is quite a substantial saving, like, per kilo. So yeah, stuff like that is definitely worth looking into. Don't just settle for what you've got in your local tack shop. Do some research, do some digging around. Buying in bulk is always a good way to save money. Alright, so another great way to save money when you own horses is collect rainwater. Now you may have noticed we've got all guttering systems up on all of our buildings, and they come down into these rain butts. Now this one is disgusting at the moment. This needs cleaning out. I actually need to clean the roof and the guttering because the water that's been coming down the last couple of weeks is coming out that colour. Which says to me that there's a load of moss and leaf mulch up in my guttering that I need to get rid of. But collecting rainwater is a great way to save money. I mean, we are on a meter here. Now, we don't use a ton of water anyway, but we've got a substantial building here. It's big, and we've got guttering on our other stable down the other end as well, and I want to get guttering on these buildings too. Because in the winter months, especially when it's, you know, raining, oh, it's so bright, when it's raining pretty much constantly here, we very rarely turn the tap on. Let me just try and find the shade. There we go. Yeah, all you have to do is make sure you keep the guttering clean and keep the buckets clean and free from bugs and algae. Just tip them out and clean them once a week like you would your normal drinking buckets. And yeah, you have free water, and our horses absolutely love the rainwater. It's always a bit of a shock to their systems when we go back to using tap water in the summer, when obviously we don't get enough rain to fill the water butts up, so we have to use tap water. I think they prefer it. I don't think they enjoy the chlorinated tap water that we get around here. They like the rainwater, so that's a plus for them. So yeah, there you go. Collect rainwater and offset your water bill. Another great way to save money. Merging vet visits is a great way to save money. Now, this is generally only really going to work if you either have multiple horses of your own, or if you're on a shared yard where you can make an effort to merge your vet visits with other horse owners. Now, most veterinary practices will offer discounts if multiple horses are seen in one visit. And like for us, we have the 4 horses. I think for the vet practice we use, if you have 3 or more animals seen to in one vet visit, then you don't pay the call-out fee. Well, that's a saving of £30 straight up. So that is a no-brainer. And I know lots of places will do discounts on like your worm egg counts, your vaccinations and things like that. Loads of places will do discounts if you do bulk of those things. So that is definitely worth looking into. I mean, if you're on a livery yard, it would be worth talking to your fellow horse owners and figuring out a plan and merge your vet visits. So what we do here is we have tried to combine our vaccinations so that when the vet comes out, we have enough animals being vaccinated to get that discount or to get that free call out. And same with dentistry, and if they need anything else seen to, we'll always try and work it so that we fall into one of those discount categories. So that's another great way for you to save money when you're... Okay, so another great way to save money is learn how to clip. Oh, my clippers are disgusting. I did not clean these after I last used them. This is not how to treat your clippers, ladies and gentlemen, because they will rust. So I need to deal with that. But yeah, learn how to clip and invest in a set of clippers. Now, I have got 4 horses here. They all get clipped a minimum of twice a winter. Sometimes they get clipped in the summer as well, but we're talking a bare minimum of twice a year per horse. Well, that's 8 clips straight up, bare minimum. Now, oh, you've got flies on you. In the area that we're in, the average going rate for a full clip is about £70. I'll let you guys do the maths there. Just for those 2 bare minimum clips for all of our horses, we're looking at a fair few £100 there. That's a lot of money. Now, a pair of clippers like this is going to set you back, depending on what brand and whether or not you buy new or second hand, somewhere in the region of £200 to £400. Well, in the amount of money I would spend in 1 year paying somebody else to clip my horses for me, I could have bought and paid for something like this easily, which is exactly what I did, because I can't justify paying somebody £70 a pop to come and clip a single horse. It's mind-blowingly insane. That's so much money to me. Are you being cute, hon? Yeah, so it is a bit of a learning curve, learning how to clip a horse well, but it's so worth it. Like, given the amount of money you're going to save in the long run, once you have paid for the clippers and you own them, and you've learnt how to clip, now you may well want to go and get a lesson in clipping, but even so, in the long run, after all of that, you're going to save so much money, like hundreds and hundreds of pounds a year can be saved just by learning this one simple skill. It's not difficult. If an idiot like me can do it, anyone can do it, trust me. And then the only cost you've got is something like, I don't know, £20–30 a year to get them serviced, get them professionally cleaned and get your blade sharpened. That's it. So that to me is a no-brainer. That is a huge, huge saving. Okay, so there you have it, guys. That is my 8 tips for saving money when you own horses. I hope this was helpful for someone. I hope it inspires you to think outside of the box and look for cheaper alternatives during your horse ownership. I think the horse world is a little bit... It kind of has that feel about it that you have to have a lot of money to be able to do this, and you really don't. There are so many ways that you can save money. There are so many budget hacks out there, and there are so many things you can do on a very small budget if you just apply a little bit of know-how and are willing to do a little bit of independent research. So I hope this was helpful for someone. If anyone out there has any more suggestions of ways to save money, I would love to hear them, because I am always interested in figuring out ways to make my cash go further. Thank you so much for joining me today for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all in our next video. Bye.